So it's 9:05, time to start. Welcome, good to see you all here. To get ourselves here, however, let's do a very small exercise, and this is a pretty good exercise if you feel for a moment that you need to center yourself, and a lot of people do it just before stepping on the stage if you need to do a presentation. And what we need to do is just take a very deep inhale through the nose and slowly exhale through the mouth. Just one time. That's it. So welcome to the day number 2. My name is Alexander Tennyson. I'm your captain for this 10 days. And I'm also a mentor in Cocoonity. So this 10-day relationship challenge is part of what we do in the Cocoonity, which is a self-development and self-growth school. As you probably already have heard and read, that today's mission is pretty challenging, I would say. And your task for today, if you read it, is in comparison with yesterday when we were giving feedback, positive feedback for others, today we are asking for it. So if you have a good friend, you can ask from your friend why we are friends, or more precisely, why does he want or she want to be friends with you? If you have a romantic partner, I definitely suggest asking him or her what they fell in love in you. And very often this is the potential which we have. Or if you have kids and parents, then what you could ask is, what makes them proud about you? So today's challenge is believing in yourself and others. And why we call it the challenge is that at times it's actually pretty difficult. And if you also maybe read on the Facebook feedback from yesterday's challenge, when even giving a positive feedback or even just noticing something positive about yourself or the others sometimes could be really challenging, because we're very much and very easily focused on the negatives. And there's a saying that whether we believe that we can or we believe that we can't, we're right anyways. And this was said actually by Henry Ford. And if you really think about it, this has a lot of sense. Also, the thing about beliefs in general and how we see ourselves and the others is that largely we have 2 options in life as far as beliefs are concerned. One is we can make ourselves bigger by believing that we can, that we are valuable, that we have things to offer to the world, that we are lovable, that we can do hard work, that we are good at what we do. And by believing that about ourselves or the others, we make ourselves bigger, but not in the sense that we make our ego bigger, but in the sense that we bring out the positive, what we have, and make it visible to others as well. Or the other option, we can also make ourselves smaller by saying things that I cannot, I don't know how to, I'm not capable. And it doesn't really matter whether I say it about myself or I say it about the other person. I make myself smaller or I make the other person smaller. And an interesting effect is that the whole challenge is about relationships. And all the relationships in what we have in our world are interconnected and interrelated, which means whatever I do within the relationship with myself or the others, this affects all my other relationships as well. So if I make myself bigger, I make everybody and everyone I have relationship a little bit bigger. But same is true with making yourself smaller or somebody else in your life smaller. The same effect goes on you, the same effect goes on all the other relationships which you have in your life. So if you realize that, then to me, it sounds only logical that what we want to do is make ourselves bigger. But it's difficult. And it's difficult because what we have is limiting beliefs about ourselves. And what does it mean, limiting? Limiting means that it doesn't allow us to do something which we want or which we really, really desire, or sometimes even need within our lives. And just also wanted to bring a few examples of limiting beliefs. One is avoiding type of limiting beliefs. That means that you say yourself things such as, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I cannot do it, I'm not capable of doing it, I don't have the skills to do it, etc. And so these are the things which help us to avoid taking certain steps, taking certain risks. We make ourselves smaller, but there's also limiting beliefs that we always tend to believe what is the worst. So for myself and in my life, I used to have this tendency that if somebody was late to a meeting, kids didn't come home in the evening, or my wife came later than she promised, I automatically thought something must have happened. So this is having like a worst case scenario type of beliefs about situations in general. And also when taking risks anyways, everything will go bad. But there's also what we call mental filter type of beliefs. And this is being focused mostly on the negative. And this is what we practiced yesterday, but this is also a very limiting belief, is that we in general believe that things are more negative than positive. So this is the type of limiting beliefs which we have. So if we want to change who we are, and if we want to make ourselves bigger, what needs to happen is we need to change how we believe about ourselves and the others. And this is quite challenging. And this is also the reason why today's task is as it's described. It's very difficult to do alone. So what we need to do is we need to ask for support. And how we can change the beliefs about ourselves is by looking through the eyes of the others. So there's many people in our lives. We have friends, we have relatives, we have loved ones, we have kids, parents, siblings, co-workers, completely random people. So there's many, many people in our lives. And sometimes it helps, or actually most of the times it helps us to see ourselves through their eyes. So if it's difficult to believe that I'm worthy, or I'm actually a really cool person, I'm funny, I'm lovable, I'm a very good friend, I'm a good lover, then what we can do is ask from others, how do they see us? And this is just like a stepping stone towards building the belief for ourselves. So to reiterate, the task for today is to ask for support so that we can change what we believe about ourselves, but also the others. And that the interesting thing is that where believing in others come into play in this task is that we need to believe that other people are capable supporting us. And by believing that they can, we actually make them bigger. And there's also one thing which I think is a typical for most of the men, but definitely very, very, very typical for Estonian men. We don't like to ask support, and we don't like to ask for help, because we think by asking for help, we make ourselves smaller. The reality is quite the opposite. By asking for support when you need it, this is how you make yourself bigger. But only way to find out is through action. So I definitely encourage you to take this action today. Ask at least from one person. And if you do, and if you have an experience, maybe it's a negative one, I cannot promise how people react in your life, definitely would be happy to hear about it, either in the call tomorrow or if you share on the Facebook. And I was also thinking, how can I support you in making this? So what I want to offer is that if you really don't have anyone to ask, or you don't have the courage, ask me. So I'm happy to connect on Facebook. I'm happy to connect over LinkedIn, happy to connect over phone or email. And I can actually also have a short phone call with you or a Zoom call. I'm happy to give you feedback, happy to give you what I feel is the potential within you and why I think it's good that you are within this challenge and why we have this relationship. Thank you very much. So this is the theory part for today. I'm now going to stop the recording, and then we have a chance for Q&A session or just feedback session, maybe something from yesterday which you would like to share.